And howdy, everybody. Welcome to the word number 235. Howdy, Glenn. Howdy, Lynn.
Morning. Evening.
You're making odd expressions. Okay. Normally people make, never mind. Anyways, we are continuing in Jubilees. If you want to read along with us, go to pseudopagrapha.com or buy a book like Glenna has and Lynn has. And I have, but it's up on the shelf. So we're going through Jubilees chapters 31, 32, 33, 34, and wrapping it up today with 35. As usual, though, let's go ahead and pray it. Heavenly Father, thank you very much for allowing us to come together in the name of your Son, Jesus Yeshua, and to fellowship with each other and you and him. And we just ask that you give us your spirit of discernment and understanding as we read through the chapters today. Thank you for the healings and understandings that you've been giving people. We're very grateful for that. And for those that have been getting dreams, we thank you for those too, and are very grateful. Please continue. And very much for those of us here in the West, thank you for the rain that we're getting right now. We would ask that you continue. Thank you, Abba. In Jesus Yeshua's name, amen. All righty. Let's get on the right thingamajigger there. And we'll click that because I usually forget that. And then we'll go here to share. And then you go to that. And then you click Jubilees and bam! Jubilees 31. Who's that cook? Bam! Okay, never mind. Jubilees chapter 31. And on the new moon of the month, Jacob spake to all the people of his house, saying, Purify yourselves and change your garments, and let us arise and go up to Bethel, where I vowed a vow to him on the day when I fled from the face of Esau my brother, because he has been with me and brought me into this land in peace, and put ye away the strange gods that are among you. And they gave up the strange gods and that which was in their ears and which was on their necks, and the idols which Rachel stole from Laban her father she gave wholly to Jacob. And he burnt and brake them to pieces and destroyed them and hid them under an oak which is in the land of Shechem. And he went up on the new moon of the 7th month to Bethel, and he built an altar at the place where he had slept. And he set up a pillar there, and he sent word to his father Isaac to come to him to his sacrifice, and to his mother Rebekah. And Isaac said, Let my son Jacob come, and let me see him before I die. And Jacob went to his father Isaac, and went to his mother Rebekah, and the house of his father Abraham, and he took 2 of his sons with him, Levi and Judah. And he came to his father Isaac, and to his mother Rebekah. And Rebekah came forth from the tower to the front of it to kiss Jacob and embrace him. For her spirit had revived when she heard, Behold, Jacob thy son is come. And she kissed him. And she saw his 2 sons, and she recognized them, and said unto them, Are these thy sons, my son? And she embraced them, and kissed them, and blessed them, saying, In you shall the seed of Abraham become illustrious, and ye shall prove a blessing on the earth. And Jacob went in to Isaac his father, to the chamber where he lay. And his 2 sons were with him, and he took the hand of his father, and stooping down, he kissed him. And Isaac clung to the neck of Jacob his son, and wept upon his neck. And the darkness left the eyes of Isaac, and he saw the 2 sons of Jacob, Levi and Judah. And he said, Are these thy sons, my son? For they are like thee. And he said unto him that they were truly his sons, and thou hast truly seen that they are truly my sons. And they came near to him, and he turned and kissed them and embraced them both together. And the spirit of prophecy came down into his mouth, and he took Levi by his right hand and Judah by his left. And he turned to Levi first, and began to bless him first, and said unto him, May the God of all, the very Lord of all the ages, bless thee and thy children throughout the ages. And may the Lord give to thee and to thy seed greatness and great glory, and cause thee and thy seed from among all flesh to approach him and serve in his sanctuary as the angels of the presence and as the holy ones. Even as they shall the seed of thy sons be for glory and greatness and holiness, and may he make them great unto all the ages. And they shall be judges and princes and chiefs of all the seed of the sons of Jacob. And they shall speak the word of the Lord in righteousness, and they shall judge all his judgments in righteousness. And they shall declare my ways to Jacob and my paths to Israel. The blessing of the Lord shall be given in their mouths to bless all the seed of the beloved. Thy mother has called thy name Levi, and justly has she called thy name. Thou shalt be joined to the Lord, and be the companion of all the sons of Jacob. Let his table be thine, and do thou thy sons eat thereof. And may thy table be full unto all generations, and thy food fail not unto all the ages. And let all who hate thee fall down before thee, and let all thy adversaries be rooted out and perish. And blessed be he that blesses thee, and cursed be every nation that curses thee. And to Judah he said, May the Lord give thee strength and power to tread down all that hate thee. A prince shalt thou be, thou and one of thy sons, over the sons of Jacob. May thy name and the name of thy sons go forth and traverse every land and region. Then shall the Gentiles fear before thy face, and all the nations shall quake, and all the peoples shall quake. In thee shall be the help of Jacob, and in thee be found the salvation of Israel. And when thou sittest on the throne of honor of thy righteousness, there shall be great peace for all the seed of the sons of the beloved. Blessed be he that blesseth thee, and all that hate thee and afflict thee and curse thee shall be rooted out and destroyed from the earth and be accursed. And turning, he kissed him again and embraced him and rejoiced greatly, for he had seen the sons of Jacob, his son, in very truth. And he went forth from between his feet and fell down and bowed down to him. And he blessed them and rested there with Isaac his father that night. And they eat and drank with joy. And he made the two sons of Jacob sleep, the one on his right hand and the other on his left. And it was counted to him for righteousness. And Jacob told his father everything during the night, how the Lord had shown him great mercy, and how he had prospered him in all his ways, and protected him from all evil. And Isaac blessed the God of Abraham, his father, Abraham, who he had not withdrawn his mercy and his righteousness from the sons of his servant Isaac. And in the morning Jacob told his father Isaac the vow which he had vowed to the Lord, and the vision which he had seen, and that he had built an altar, and that everything was ready for the sacrifice to be made before the Lord as he had vowed, and that he had come to set him on an ass. And Isaac said unto his son Jacob, I am not able to go with thee, for I am old and not able to bear the way. Go, my son, in peace, for I am 165 years this day. I am no longer able to journey. Set thy mother on an ass, and let her go with thee. And I know, my son, that thou hast come on my account, and may this day be blessed, on which thou hast seen me alive, and I also have seen thee, my son. Mayest thou prosper and fulfill the vow which thou hast vowed, and put not off thy vow, for thou shalt be called to account as touching the vow. Now therefore make haste to perform it, and may he be pleased who has made all things, to whom thou hast vowed the vow. And he said to Rebekah, Go with Jacob thy son. And Rebekah went with Jacob her son, and Deborah with her. And they came to Bethel. And Jacob remembered the prayer with which his father had blessed him and his two sons, Levi and Judah, and he rejoiced and blessed the God of his fathers, Abraham and Isaac. And he said, Now I know that I have an eternal hope, and my sons also before the God of all. And thus it is ordained concerning the two, and they record it as an eternal testimony unto them on the heavenly tablets, how Isaac blessed them.
Chapter 32. And he abode that night at Bethel, and Levi dreamed that he had ordained and made him the priest of the Most High God, him and his sons forever. And he awoke from his sleep and blessed the Lord. And Jacob rose early in the morning on the 14th of this month, and he gave a tithe of all that came with him, both of men and cattle, both of gold and every vessel and garment. Yea, he gave tithes of all. And in those days Rachel became pregnant with her son, Benjamin. And Jacob counted his sons from him upwards, and Levi fell to the portion of the Lord. And his father clothed him in the garments of the priesthood and filled his hands. And on the 15th of this month, he brought to the altar 14 oxen from amongst the cattle, and 28 rams, and 49 sheep, and 7 lambs, and 21 kids of the goats as a burnt offering on the altar of sacrifice, well pleasing for a sweet savor before God. This was his offering, in consequence of the vow which he had vowed that he would give a tenth, with their fruit offerings and their drink offerings. And when the fire had consumed it, he burnt incense on the fire over the fire, and for a thank offering 2 oxen and 4 rams and 4 sheep, 4 he goats, and 2 sheep of a year old, and 2 kids of the goats. And thus he did daily for 7 days. And he and all his sons and his men were eating this with joy there during the 7 days, and blessing and thanking the Lord, who had delivered them out of all his tribulation and had given him his vow. And he tithed all the clean animals and made a burnt sacrifice, but the unclean animals he gave not to Levi his son, and he gave him all the souls of the men. And Levi discharged the priestly office at Bethel before Jacob his father in preference to his 10 brothers, and he was a priest there. And Jacob gave his vow, thus he tithed again the tithe to the Lord, and sanctified it, and became holy unto him. And for this reason it is ordained on the heavenly tablets as a law for the tithing again, the tithe to eat before the Lord from year to year, in the place where it is chosen that his name should dwell. And to this law there is no limit of days forever. This ordinance is written that it may be fulfilled from year to year in eating the second tithe before the Lord in the place where it hath been chosen. And nothing shall remain over from it from this year to the year following. For in its year shall the seed be eaten till the days of the gathering of the seed of the year, and the wine till the days of the wine, and the oil till the days of its season. And all that is left thereof and becometh old, let it be regarded as polluted. Let it be burnt with fire, for it is unclean. And thus let them eat it together in the sanctuary, and let them not suffer it to become old. And all the tithes of the oxen and sheep shall be holy unto the Lord, and shall belong to his priests, which they will eat before him from year to year. For thus it is ordained and engraven regarding the tithe on the heavenly tablets. Does that continue? Okay. And on the following night, on the 22nd day of this month, Jacob resolved to build that place, and to surround the court with a wall, and to sanctify it, and make it holy forever for himself and his children after him. And the Lord appeared to him by night, and blessed him, and said unto him, Thy name shall not be called Jacob, but Israel shall they name thy name. And he said unto him again, I am the Lord who created the heaven and the earth, and shall increase thee and multiply thee exceedingly. And the kings will come forth from thee, and they will judge everywhere, wherever the foot of the sons of men hath trodden. And I shall give to thy seed all the earth which is under heaven, and they will judge all the nations according to their desires. And after that they will get possession of the whole earth and inherit it forever. And he finished speaking with him, and he went up from him, and Jacob looked till he had ascended into heaven. And he saw in a vision of the night, and behold, an angel descended from heaven with 7 tablets in his hands, and he gave them to Jacob, and he read them and knew all that was written therein, which would befall him and his sons throughout all the ages. And he showed him all that was written on the tablets, and said unto him, Do not build this place, and do not make it an eternal sanctuary, and do not dwell here, for this is not the place. Go to the house of Abraham thy father, and dwell with Isaac thy father until the day of the death of thy father, for in Egypt thou wilt die in peace. And in this land thou wilt be buried with honor in the sepulchre of thy fathers, with Abraham and Isaac. Fear not, for as thou hast seen and read it, thus will it all be. And do thou write down everything as thou hast seen and read. And Jacob said, Lord, how can I remember all that I have read and seen? And he said unto him, I will bring all things to thy remembrance. And he went up from him, and he awoke from his sleep, and he remembered everything which he had read and seen. And he wrote down all the words which he had read and seen, and he celebrated there yet another day. And he sacrificed thereon according to all that he sacrificed on the former days, and called its name Addition. For this day was added, and the former days he called the feast. And thus it was manifested that it should be, and it is written on the heavenly tablets. Wherefore it was revealed to him that he should celebrate it, and add it to the 7 days of the feast. And its name was called Addition, because that it was recorded amongst the days of the feast days, according to the number of the days of the year. And in the night on the 23rd of this month, Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and they buried her beneath the city under the oak of the river. And he called the name of this place the river of Deborah, and the oak of the mourning of Deborah. And Rebekah went and returned to her house to his father Isaac, and Jacob sent by her hand rams and sheep and he-goats, that she should prepare a meal for his father, such as he desired. And he went after his mother till he came to the land of Cabratan, and he dwelt there. And Rachel bare a son in the night, and called his name Son of My Sorrow, for she suffered in giving him birth. But his father called him Benjamin. On the 11th of the 8th month, in the first of the 6th week of this Jubilee. And Rachel died there, and she was buried in the land of Ephrath, the same as Bethlehem. And Jacob built a pillar on the grave of Rachel, on the road above her grave.
Chapter 33. And Jacob went and dwelt to the south of Magdala-Raph, and he went to his father Isaac, he and Leah his wife, on the new moon in the 10th month. And Reuben saw Bilhah, Rachel's maid, the concubine of his father, bathing in water in a secret place, and he loved her. And he hid himself at night, and he entered the house of Bilhah at night, and he found her sleeping alone on a bed in her house. And he lay with her, and she awoke and saw, and behold, Reuben was lying with her in the bed. And she uncovered the border of her covering, and seized him, and cried out, and discovered that it was Reuben. And she was ashamed because of him, and released her hand from him, and he fled. And she lamented because of this thing exceedingly, and did not tell it to anyone. And when Jacob returned and sought for her, she said unto him, I am not clean for thee, for I have been defiled as regards thee. For Reuben has defiled me, and has lain with me in the night, and I was asleep, and did not discover until he uncovered my skirt, and slept with me. And Jacob was exceedingly wroth with Reuben, because he had lain with Bilhah, because he had uncovered his father's skirt. And Jacob did not approach her again, because Reuben had defiled her. And as for any man who uncovers his father's skirt, his deed is wicked exceedingly, and he is abominable before the Lord. And for this reason it is written and ordained on the heavenly tablets, that a man should not lie with his father's wife, and should not uncover his father's skirt, for this is unclean. They shall surely die together, the man who lies with his father's wife, and the woman also, for they have wrought uncleanness on the earth. And there shall be nothing unclean before our God in the nation which he has chosen for himself as a possession. And again, it is written a second time, Cursed be he who lieth with his wife of his father, for he hath uncovered his father's shame. And all the holy ones of the Lord said, So be it, so be it. And do thou, Moses commanded the children of Israel, that they observe this word, for it entails a punishment of death, and it is unclean, and there is no atonement forever to atone for the man who has committed this. But he is put to death and slain, and stoned with stones, and rooted out from the midst of the people of our God. For to no man who does so in Israel is it permitted to remain alive a single day on the earth, for he is abominable and unclean. And let them not say, To Reuben was granted life and forgiveness after he had lain with his father's concubine, and to her also, though she had a husband, and her husband Jacob, his father, was still alive. For until that time there had not been revealed the ordinance and judgment and law in its completeness for all, but in the days it had been revealed as the law of seasons and of days and of everlasting laws for the everlasting generations. And for this law there is no consummation of days, and no atonement for it, but they must both be rooted out in the midst of the nation. On the day wherein they committed it, they shall slay them. And do thou, Moses, write it down for Israel, that they may observe it, and do according to these words, and not commit a sin unto death. For the Lord our God is judge, and who respects not persons, accepts not gifts. And tell them these words of the covenant, that they may hear and observe, and be on their guard with respect to them, and not be destroyed and rooted out of the land. For an uncleanness and an abomination, and a contamination and a pollution, all they who commit it on the earth before our God. And there is no greater sin than the fornication which they commit on earth. For Israel is a holy nation unto the Lord its God, and a nation of inheritance, and a priestly and royal nation for his own possession. And there shall no such uncleanness appear in the midst of the holy nation. And in the 3rd year of this 6th week, Jacob and all his sons went and dwelt in the house of Abraham near Isaac his father and Rebekah his mother. And these were the names of the sons of Jacob: the firstborn Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, the sons of Leah, and the sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin, and the sons of Bilhah, Dan and Naphtali, and the sons of Zilpah, Gad and Asher, and Dinah, the daughter of Leah, the only sister of Jacob. And they came and bowed themselves to Isaac and Rebekah, and when they saw them, they blessed Jacob and all his sons. And Isaac rejoiced exceedingly, for he saw the sons of Jacob, his younger son, and he blessed them.
Jubilees chapter 34. And in the 6th year of this week, in the 44th Jubilee, Jacob sent his sons to pasture their sheep, and his servants with them to the pastures of Shechem. And the 7 kings of the Amorites assembled themselves together against them to slay them, hiding themselves under the trees, and to take their cattle as a prey. And Jacob and Levi and Judah and Joseph were in the house with Isaac their father, for his spirit was sorrowful, and they could not leave him. And Benjamin was the youngest, and for this reason remained with his father. And there came the kings of Taphu, and the kings of Arisa, and the kings of Saragan, and the kings of Selo, and the kings of Gaias, and the king of Bethoron, and the king of Sakir, and all those who dwell in these mountains and who dwell in the woods in the land of Canaan. And they announced this to Jacob, saying, Behold, the kings of the Amorites have surrounded thy sons and plundered their herds. And he arose from his house, he and his 3 sons, and all the servants of his father and his own servants, and he went against them with 6,000 men who carried swords, and he slew them in the pastures of Shechem, and pursued those who fled. And he slew them with the edge of the sword, and he slew Arisa and Taphu and Saragan and Selo and Amani-Sakir and Gagas, and he recovered his herds. And he prevailed over them and imposed tribute on them, that they should pay him tribute, 5 fruit products of their lands. And he built Robel and Tamnatares. And he returned in peace and made peace with them, and they became his servants until the day that he and his sons went down into Egypt. And in the 7th year of this week, he sent Joseph to learn about the welfare of his brothers from his house to the land of Shechem, and he found them in the land of Dothan. and they dealt treacherously with him and formed a plot against him to slay him. But changing their minds, they sold him to Ishmaelite merchants, and they brought him down to into Egypt, and they sold him to Potiphar, the eunuch of Pharaoh, the chief of the cooks, priest of the city of Elu. And the sons of Jacob slaughtered a kid and dipped the coat of Joseph in the blood and sent it to Jacob their father on the 10th of the 7th month. And he mourned all that night, for they had brought it to him in the evening, and he became feverish with mourning for his death. And he said, "An evil beast hath devoured Joseph." And all the members of his house mourned with him that day, and they were grieving and mourning with him all that day. And his sons and his daughter rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted for his son. And on that day Bilhah heard that Joseph had perished, and she died mourning him. And she was living in Kaphareteth, and Dinah also, his daughter, died after Joseph had perished. And there came these 3 mournings upon Israel in 1 month, and they buried Bilhah over against the tomb of Rachel, and Dinah also, his daughter, they buried there. And he mourned for Joseph 1 year and did not cease, for he said, "Let me go down to the grave mourning for my son. For this reason it is ordained for the children of Israel that they should afflict themselves on the 10th of the 7th month, on the day of the news which made him weep for Joseph came to Jacob his father, and that they should make atonement for themselves thereon with a young goat on the 10th of the 7th month once a year for their sins, for they have grieved the affection of their father regarding Joseph his son. And this day has been ordained that they should grieve thereon for their sins, and for all their transgressions, and for all their errors, so that they might cleanse themselves on that day once a year. And after Joseph perished, the sons of Jacob took unto themselves wives. The name of Reuben's wife is Adah, and the name of Simeon's wife is Adelbah, a Canaanite. And the name of Levi's wife is Milcah, and the daughters of Aram, of the seed of the sons of Terah. And the name of Judah's wife, Betasuel, a Canaanite. And the name of Issachar's wife, Hezekiah. And the name of Zabulon's wife, Neiman. And the name of Dan's wife, Eglah. And the name of Naphtali's wife, Rasu, of Mesopotamia. And the name of Gad's wife, Makkah. And the name of Asher's wife, Ionah, and the name of Joseph's wife, Asenath, the Egyptian. And the name of Benjamin's wife is Yasaka. And Simeon repented and took a second wife from Mesopotamia as his brothers.
Chapter 35. And in the first year of the first week of the 45th Jubilee, Rebekah called Jacob her son and commanded him regarding his father and regarding his brother, that he should honor them all the days of his life. And Jacob said, "I will do everything as thou hast commanded me, for this thing will be honor and greatness to me, and righteousness before the Lord, that I should honor them. And thou too, mother, knowest from the time I was born until this day, all my deeds and all that is in my heart, that I always think good concerning all. And how should I not do this thing which thou hast commanded me, that I should honor my father and my brother? Tell me, mother, what perversity hast thou seen in me, and I shall turn away from it, and mercy will be upon me." And she said unto him, "My son, I have not seen in thee all my days any perverse, but only upright deeds. And yet I shall tell thee the truth, my son. I shall die this year, and I shall not survive this year in my life. For I have seen in a dream the day of my death, that I should not live beyond 155 years. And behold, I have completed all the days of my life, which I am to live." And Jacob laughed at the words of his mother, because his mother had said unto him that she should die, and she was sitting opposite to him in possession of her strength, and she was not infirm in her strength, for she went in and out and saw, and her teeth were strong, and no ailment had touched her all the days of her life. And Jacob said unto her, Blessed am I, mother, if my days approach the days of thy life, and my strength remain with me, thus is thy strength, and thou wilt not die, for thou art jesting idly with me regarding thy death. And she went in to Isaac and said unto him, One petition I make unto thee, make Esau swear that he will not injure Jacob, nor pursue him with enmity. For thou knowest Esau's thoughts, that they are perverse from his youth, and there is no goodness in him. For he desireth after thy death to kill him. And thou knowest all that he hath done since the day Jacob his brother went to Haran until this day, how he hath forsaken us with his whole heart, and hath done evil to us. Thy flocks he hath taken to himself, and carried off all thy possessions from before thy face. And when we implored and besought him for what was our own, he did as a man who was taking pity on us. And he is bitter against thee, because thou didst bless Jacob thy perfect and upright son. For there is no evil, but only goodness in him. And since he came from Haran unto this day, he hath not robbed us of aught. For he bringeth us everything in its season always, and rejoices with all his heart when we take at his hands, and he blesses us, and hath not parted from us since he came from Haran until this day, and he remaineth with us continually at home, honoring us. And Isaac said unto her, I too know and see the deeds of Jacob, who is with us, how that with all his heart he honoreth us, but I loved Esau formerly more than Jacob, because he was the firstborn. But now I love Jacob more than Esau, for he hath done manifold evil deeds, and there is no righteousness in him. For all his ways are unrighteousness and violence, and there is no righteousness around him. And now my heart is troubled because of all his deeds, and neither he nor his seed is to be saved, for they are those who will be destroyed from the earth, and who will be rooted out from under heaven. For he hath forsaken the God of Abraham, and gone after his wives, and after their uncleanness, and after their error, he and his children. And thou dost bid me make him swear that he will not slay Jacob his brother. Even if he swear, he will not abide by his oath, and he will not do good, but evil only. But if he desireth to slay Jacob his brother, into Jacob's hands will he be given, and he will not escape from his hands, for he will descend into his hands. And fear thou not on account of Jacob, for the guardian of Jacob is great and powerful and honored and praised more than the guardian of Esau. And Rebekah sent and called Esau, and he came to her, and she came unto him. I have a petition, my son, to make unto thee, and do thou promise to do it, my son. And he said, I will do everything that thou sayest unto me, and I will not refuse thy petition. And she said unto him, I ask you that the day I die, thou wilt take me in and bury me near Sarah, thy father's mother, and that thou and Jacob will love each other, and that neither will desire evil against the other, but mutual love only. And so you will prosper, my sons, and be honored in the midst of the land. And no enemy will rejoice over you, and you will be a blessing and a mercy in the eyes of all those that love you. And he said, I will do all that thou hast told me, and I shall bury thee on the day thou diest near Sarah, my father's mother, as thou hast desired, that her bones may be near thy bones. And Jacob, my brother, also I shall love above all flesh, for I have not a brother in all the earth but him only. And this is no great merit for me if I love him, for he is my brother, and we were sown together in thy body, and together came we forth from thy womb. And if I do not love my brother, whom shall I love? And I, myself, beg thee to exhort Jacob concerning me and concerning my sons. For I know that he will assuredly be king over me and my sons, For on the day my father blessed him, he made him the higher, and me the lower. And I swear unto thee that I shall love him, and not desire evil against him all the days of my life, but good only. And he sware unto her regarding all this matter. And she called Jacob before the eyes of Esau, and gave him a commandment according to the words which she had spoken to Esau. And he said, I shall do thy pleasure. Believe me that no evil will proceed from me or from my sons against Esau, and I shall be first in naught save in love only. And they ate and drank, she and her sons that night, and she died. 3 Jubilees and 1 week and 1 year old on that night, and her 2 sons, Esau and Jacob, buried her in the double cave near Sarah, their father's mother.
Okay, let's go back to chapter 31. And I saw you furiously taking notes, and know that you have 3 or 4 pages just on chapter 31.
Who, me?
That.
What?
Okay, what do you got? I think someone has something for number 2.
Well, number 2. I'm not starting till 7.
You were just saying that that was misprinted in your Bible?
Yeah, that was misprinted, the brother, and it's supposed to be father. On number 3, it's really, really cool. We got the new moon of the 7th month, and that would be what we call Yom Teruah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Also, the 2 sons that went with Jacob were Levi and Judah, and they got the huge blessings. You got the priesthood going on with Levi, and of course the kingship with Judah, and that all the salvation is going to be coming from those 2, the joining of down in their descendants.
Do you think that's a messianic prophecy? A lot of people miss that Mary was wife of Joseph, who was from the city of David, who was Judah,
Mm-hmm.
but her cousin was married to a priest, a Levite.
And Elizabeth is also a daughter, one of the descendant daughters of Aaron as well. Okay, so that means she was a Levitical. Mary may have been a combination of Judah and a Levite daughter,
Mm-hmm.
because Elizabeth was her cousin.
Either way, we see the unification of both in Messiah, in Christ.
Yes, and speaking of the women, it's interesting that sometimes when we as mothers are talking to our children, that we think we're just saying something, but it turns out to be pretty prophetic, because in verse 7 she says, in you shall the seed of Abraham become illustrious, and ye shall prove a blessing on the earth. She's not like giving him a blessing like her husband's doing, but it's pretty prophetic what she's saying there to her offspring.
Yeah. Yep.
Not only that, but that's also a good follow-up from the blessing that she had given him before, where she said, may he have as many sons as there are months in the year. And he had 12 sons. And every month is accounted for with the exception of 2 and 12. So I don't know how that falls into play, but I found it fascinating.
Valentine's Day and Christmas. Oh, wait, wrong calendar. Sorry. the, the way wrong calendar. Okay. Let's go to 32 since I totally popped that balloon. Oh, wait, we got something for 31.
Yeah. And that whole thing about all the nations will quake. Didn't we see Judah when he would be roaring in Jasher where everything was quaking?
That's what it said.
Mm-hmm.
All the people for sure. Okay, 32. What do we got? What do we have? So this.
I just want to say,
go ahead.
May I say, regarding 31, the vow popped out to me. And then here we go to 32, and he did not waste time. He went to do the vow.
Right now.
Yeah, he didn't think about it, he didn't second guess. He just went and did it. Boy, that I could do that more often.
I found it interesting too that he did it of everything that he had built up.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he had built up, including men servants.
Correct. Yes.
So what were they dedicated to? What did they get to do?
Maybe they were, I don't know, the yard people and the maintenance men and stuff.
Right?
Well, isn't this tabernacles when he performs this vow? It sounds like tabernacles to me.
Yeah,
because they did 7 days, and then he added the addition.
The 8th day.
So that would be the 8th day.
Yeah.
Look at that. Starting to think like Glenna.
We need to make a video of just Glenna doing that. The
Okay, this is something that tied in. I did some research on Thanksgiving, and it was originally done late September, early October, which we know what falls there. It was a multiple day feast, not a one-day feast. Okay. The original Thanksgiving was a Sukkot thing.
and that too is also where, if we look back through, even though they adopted a bunch of pagan stuff, everywhere that Israel was scattered has essentially that same harvest festival. Right? If you trace that back. If you want to go down into that rabbit coven, what do they call rabbit families? Covens? Not covens.
You mean the Watership Down? Hello, burrows. I don't know.
Whatever they are. Okay. Anyways, yeah, all the clean animals. Did he have unclean animals? He must have. He had camels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't need that.
And so
they had the garbage disposals around too, the pigs. They just didn't sacrifice those or eat those.
Actually, chickens will eat anything too.
And dogs.
Explain that one. Yeah, dogs. Dogs will eat more of anything than chickens will. Okay, so they called this day addition, which gives us what, an 8-month or an 8-day feast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yay! Okay, and then we have Benjamin born, which they talk about Benjamin being born. Oh, she becomes pregnant with Benjamin. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's go to 33. And that. Okay, I think you guys planned these names out. The you didn't get too bad, but the next chapter was like, what? Okay. Now this adds some stuff to what we hear about Reuben lying with Bilhah. That he did it
It's the
sneakily while she was sleeping. Is that possible?
Only if, no. I mean, it shouldn't be possible. Would it? It shouldn't be possible.
In one of the writings, didn't it say that she was also kind of inebriated?
Not that I can recall. That I haven't read it. Doesn't mean it's not out there. Yeah, but she may have slept pretty soundly if she's milking goats and doing laundry and stuff all day too. So I don't know.
Yes, and one of my kids, you could put her in her pajamas, change her diaper, whatever, and she'd sleep through the whole thing. So maybe, but for me, no, I would know.
It is in the Testament of Reuben.
Okay, so make a note, everybody. And then it covers this law about now. Bilhah was who?
She was the maid for Rachel.
So Rachel's handmaid. But here it says wife. Now that's something that I take the King James only people to task on is everywhere where it says wife or concubine, it's the same word, which is in the basic Hebrew woman. So what makes a woman a man's wife?
Consummation.
Consummation, right? Biblically lying together. Okay, anyways. Enough of the Motown.
Well, okay, so why were they not stoned and removed from the, that's my question.
Well, it also mentions that too, because it talks about the fullness of this law was not something about this full. I don't know what verse it is, but it said something about the completion of this law or the completeness or the fullness of this law was not then known or something like that, which Moses got the whole pickle.
It kind of refutes that theory that so many people are saying about, what was it, Ham sleeping with
His mom.
Noah's wife. Okay, because this particular situation did not arise until here. And so therefore it had to be implemented saying, no, you're not doing that.
And if they had stoned him to death, where was Jacob going to get another son to fulfill the 12 tribes?
True.
They could have voted one in, I guess, like they did with Thomas. Thomas replacing Judas Iscariot.
Mm-hmm.
You look confused.
You mean Matthias?
Didn't it say Thomas?
Yeah, you said Thomas.
Yeah.
Matthias replaced Judas Iscariot.
Oh, okay. Was it? Who were they voting against with him? Because they had two people to choose from, and they cast lots. Okay, let me find it. Okay, going down a rabbit trail, everybody. Yeah, and Acts. Let's see. Let's try Lot. Well, I'm not getting it. I'm choosing. But there was two of the disciples that they chose between, right? And they voted.
Mark? No.
No, it wasn't Mark. Someone's screaming at the screen right now. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
By the time this airs, all three of us will know.
This is true. Let's see if it's bothering me now. Oops.
Oh, it's going to bug me now. I'm going to have to look for that.
There we go.
Right?
Yep. So Barsabbas, surname Justus, and Matthias. Where did I get Thomas from? That. Yep, the lots fell upon Matthias. It's Acts chapter 1. Okay, so anything else for 33? Other than those that sleep with their father's wife are going to have a hard time of it.
Even in today's world, it's like, no.
Yep. Well, Paul speaks about it too, right? To who is it? One of the Gentiles that he's preaching, one of the Gentile cities he's preaching to. It says that you guys are rejoicing that a man sleeps with his father's wife. Cast them out. Now, why didn't he say stone him to death? Okay.
Because Jesus.
Because what?
Because Jesus. You just get them out of there until, you know, if they want to repent and behave. I mean, well,
Okay.
that's how
So 34, who was reading in 34? That was me.
Was you?
Somebody break something? That. Okay, what do we have from 34?
We got that Day of Atonement origination.
Okay, now where does that start? It talks about the Day of Atonement. There it is. So 18, which is properly called the Day of Affliction, right?
Mm-hmm. We're supposed to fast and repent.
Now, let's see here. When it talks about that in, I think, Leviticus, does it mention the sacrificing of a goat?
Oh, is that when they would do the come on, the scapegoat.
The scapegoat?
Mm-hmm.
I thought the scapegoat was on a different day.
I thought it.
Could be wrong.
The 10th of the 7th month.
Let's try this.
I think you're correct on that, Lynn. I think that is the Day of Atonement, with the scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe we started out sacrificing a goat, and then it became.
Here we go. Okay, I'm messing it up with trumpets. Maybe. Nope, I'm not messing up with trumpets. That. In Leviticus 23, it doesn't mention a goat. It says, you shall afflict your soul. And it's the one where it talks about you'll start it on the 9th day at evening
Mm-hmm.
and carry it through the 10th day. But it doesn't say, here it doesn't say anything about a goat. Let's see.
But that was what they dipped his vesture in when they said, "See, Father, you know, a wild beast got Joseph."
That's right.
Okay.
Right. Yep. When they brought him the coat of many colors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, and then they tell him Joseph's dead. All these other people die. Right? We have Bilhah, we have Dinah. Because they're mourning for Joseph. Why weren't the other brothers held accountable for those deaths? For telling a falsehood. Or could that also be the fullness of the law hasn't come into effect yet? The completeness of the law. Or is it not related because it wasn't directly associated with it? These are just questions I have rattling around in my head all day. Okay, so now it names their wives here too.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple of Canaanites, a couple of women from Mesopotamia, an Egyptian. What about the pure blood thing? Where are the people hollering about the pure blood?
You know, that last verse, Simeon repented.
Isn't
took a
this a
second.
type of grafting in
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
before they get to Egypt, even?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the line down from Judah, okay, comes from Tamar,
Mm-hmm.
and she was not a Canaanite. His evil sons and were from the Canaanite woman.
So
Okay.
Simeon repented and took a second wife from Mesopotamia as his brothers. So what did he do with his first wife? He just kind of left her alone?
I don't know, but it kind of reminded me of Esau, where because he took the Canaanite women, and then he was like, oh, it'll please my parents if I take a daughter of Ishmael for a wife. Okay. Well, anything else for 34? Boy, that is windy. Can you guys hear that wind? No? Okay. You know it's windy when the rain is hitting the windows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, let's go to 35 then. 35. 35.
She's like, I'm dying next year. And he's like, Mom.
I'm not seeing my next birthday. And she was what? 155?
55.
155. And then I love the way she goes in and out. She's moving around. She's not infirm. Her teeth were strong.
She had all her teeth.
Yep.
And she wasn't a sickly woman. She was healthy all her whole life. So
yeah. But we can't live in this flesh body forever, so.
I don't think I want to.
The fact that she knew when she was going to die. Okay, can I share a personal thing here with you? My mother was sick, and when in her last days, she was kind of comatose in the ICU. And when we were there, she kept asking, well, what day is it? What day is it? And if somebody said day of week, and she would go, no, what is the date? And so we would tell her. And then when my sister and I were cleaning out her personal things, we found in the Band-Aid box in the bathroom in the medicine cabinet where she had torn off a piece of newspaper and wrote the date that she actually died. She knew.
How long ago? What was the date from the paper? Like how?
The date wasn't on the paper. It was, she had torn off a piece from just a piece off the bottom of a newspaper. Okay. And she wrote down January 10th, 1986. That was the day that she died.
No idea how old that was, that paper? No. It's interesting though.
My aunt, the angels came and told her when we're gonna come back and get you in 2 weeks or something. And 2 weeks they came and got her. She passed away. She knew the day that she was gonna go because they told her. She just
something to it.
About people that really love Jesus and they're really connected. It's like they're blessed with that. I think that's kind of a blessing, If I knew, I'd be like, okay, we're gonna party for a whole week and then bye.
Yeah. My first wife always said she was going to die at 43, and she did. But I see that more as a self-fulfilling prophecy because she overdosed. So doesn't count. That. All right. Now we got Jacob and Esau promising to be the best buddies forever and ever. That. Don't we see, wasn't that different in Jasher? Or maybe they didn't keep this vow? He didn't.
Well,
Esau.
He never intended to. That's why he goes on and on and on and blah, 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 blah. He never intended to keep it. He was trying to make sure that he told his mama in no uncertain terms in a whole book how he was going to keep that vow, and just saying, okay, I will.
But
he was a liar. He was a liar. He was truly deceitful. Now, I do believe had he held up his end of that bargain, that Jacob would have been fine. He would have upheld, because he did what his mother and his father asked. He respected them and honored them.
Yeah, I think Jacob called it too, because, or not Jacob, I think Isaac called it. It's like, he's going to keep his word. Come on. You've known him his whole life, just like I have. The minute I'm dead, he's breaking his word. In that, he knew it. And he said, Jacob's going to be protected. That's all there is to it. He does what's right. He just does what's good.
It's a good example for us.
Yep. Any other observations from 35? Okay. Everybody, thank you for reading, Glenna. Thank you for reading, Lynn. Thank you for joining us, everyone. It's so interesting to have 7,000 people here, is what I imagine. At any rate, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Ring the bell thingy. Ding-a-ling-a-ding. Okay, that just reminded me of a dream. Anyways, love you all. We'll talk soon. Bye.